There are souls whose presence is like sunlight breaking through a storm, and there are others whose shadow suffocates the spirit. If you wish to walk the path toward your true self, you must learn to discern between the two. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. And those who refuse to face themselves can drain you of your own light." These people should never be around you, not because you hate them, but because your soul cannot thrive in poisoned soil. There is a truth that many resist because it feels harsh, almost unkind. Not everyone is meant to walk beside you. You may wish to save them, guide them, or show them the light you have found, but some people carry storms that will always extinguish your flame. Carl Jung taught that we are each called to face our own shadow, and that those who avoid this task often project their unacknowledged darkness onto the world around them. When you allow such people into your inner circle, their shadows will not only loom over you, they will begin to merge with your own. The journey to the self is sacred. It demands clarity, strength, and courage. And it demands discernment about who is permitted into the sacred space of your life. There are certain kinds of people whose presence is like a slow poison to your spirit, quiet at first, but relentless in its effect. Recognizing them is not about judgment or superiority, it is about self-preservation, about honoring your soul's right to grow in healthy soil. First, beware of those who live in perpetual complaint. The complainer's worldview is a gray sky with no break in the clouds. They interpret life not as a field of unfolding possibilities, but as an ongoing conspiracy against them. Even blessings are twisted into grievances in their narrative. They will hand you their bitterness like an inheritance, and at first, you might take it out of empathy, believing you can help them see the sun again. But over time, you will begin to see through their eyes, everything tinged with disappointment, suspicion, and resentment. The danger here is not simply their negativity, but the way it reshapes your own thinking. The psyche adapts to its environment. If the air is full of complaint, your inner world will adjust to breathe it in. Jung spoke of the collective unconscious and how we are all connected to the energy of those around us. A chronic complainer's energy is stagnant, heavy, and self-consuming. Your inner growth requires challenge, yes, but challenge with purpose. It needs the kind of resistance that builds muscle, not the endless dead weight of grievance. In your journey toward individuation, you cannot afford to carry the burdens of someone who refuses to set them down. Second, distance yourself from the manipulator. This person does not come to you with open hands, they come with invisible strings. Every smile, every favor, every gesture of generosity is laced with unspoken expectation. The manipulator operates in the shadows of interaction, they are less interested in connection than in control. They feed on your sense of obligation, on your need to be kind, on your longing to be seen as good. At first, their influence is subtle, almost imperceptible. They might flatter you, make you feel indispensable, or present themselves as helpless without your assistance. But over time, you begin to notice a shift, you are no longer acting from your own will, but in reaction to theirs. They have learned your triggers, your weaknesses, your guilt points, and they press them with precision. Jung taught that freedom is essential to the human soul's development, for only in freedom can the self emerge. When your choices are guided by invisible strings, individuation becomes impossible. The manipulator must be cut from your life, for they do not walk beside you, they walk inside your mind. Third, you must protect yourself from the perpetual victim. Understand, there is a difference between someone going through hardship and someone who has made hardship their identity. Life's wounds can be deep, and some scars remain for a lifetime, but the perpetual victim does not seek healing, they seek validation for remaining wounded. Their suffering becomes their currency, and they spend it often, using it to purchase your time, your energy, and your emotional labor. They will tell you their tragedies in vivid detail, again and again, until the story is no longer a call for understanding but a reinforcement of their own helplessness. If you are not careful, you will find yourself enlisted in their endless theater of blame, cast as either the rescuer or the sympathetic audience. Jung believed that every individual must confront their shadow and take responsibility for their life's direction. The perpetual victim rejects this entirely. Their shadow is always someone else's fault. You cannot grow while drowning in another's refusal to rise. Compassion does not require proximity, you can wish them healing from afar. Fourth, avoid the chronic critic. This is not the friend who offers constructive feedback out of love, this is the one who wields criticism as a weapon. Their eye is trained not to see the good, but to hunt for flaws. They will question your choices, your ambitions, your talents, not to help you improve, but to keep you small. They thrive when you doubt yourself, because your self-doubt keeps you within their comfort zone. Jung taught that the psyche is self-regulating, always seeking balance between our inner and outer worlds. The chronic critic disturbs this balance, planting seeds of uncertainty until you no longer trust your own instincts. Over time, you may begin to silence your inner voice, replacing it with theirs. You will hesitate to act, to dream, to risk, because their imagined disapproval echoes in your mind. Protect that voice, it is the compass of your life. The critic's voice should never be louder than your own. Lastly, keep your distance from the soul without vision. These are the ones content to live the same year over and over again, mistaking repetition for safety. They have no hunger for growth, no interest in transformation, and no reverence for the mysteries of life. They will mock the dreamer, belittle the seeker, and scoff at any attempt to break free from the cycle. Change frightens them because it requires a kind of death, the death of the old self. And they would rather cling to the familiar, even if the familiar is miserable. If you walk too closely with the soul without vision, their comfort with stagnation will begin to feel like a reasonable way to live. Your dreams will start to feel excessive, your ambitions unrealistic. But remember, the self calls us toward expansion. Jung's process of individuation is the unfolding of the true self over a lifetime, and that process demands movement. Stagnation is spiritual decay. You must understand, letting such people go does not make you unkind, selfish, or arrogant. It makes you a guardian of your own life. The path to your highest self is narrow, and it cannot bear the weight of those who refuse to carry their own souls. Love them from afar, bless them in your heart, but keep your steps free from their entanglement. Your life is not a shelter for every wandering spirit. It is a sacred vessel for the journey of your soul. If you allow it to be crowded with those who resist growth, who thrive on drama, who trade in bitterness, you will find the walls closing in, the air growing stale, and your vision dimming. But if you protect your space, if you fill it with those who challenge you in love, inspire you with courage, and walk beside you in honesty, you will find your path widening, your steps growing lighter, and your vision sharpening toward the horizon. This is not an easy calling. It requires courage to say no, discernment to see through charm, and discipline to maintain your boundaries. At times, you will feel guilt. At times, you will feel loneliness. But these are the necessary shadows you must pass through on the way to the light. Jung knew that transformation comes only through the confrontation with the shadow, yours, and sometimes, the shadow of those around you. If they will not face theirs, you cannot carry it for them. So let them go, the complainer, the manipulator, the perpetual victim, the chronic critic, and the soul without vision. Let them walk their path while you walk yours. Do not wait for them to catch up, do not slow your pace to match theirs. You have your own work to do. You have a self to become. And you cannot become it while living under the weight of those who have chosen not to see their own light. Protect your mind. Guard your heart. And above all, honor the sacred space that is your life. For it is here, in this space, that your true self will take root and grow, untethered, unburdened, and unafraid.